I 36 male got a job offer recently, but my wife 32 female wants me to reject it because my ex-girlfriend 34 female works there too. I work in tech, and our research is super specific. I had some trouble at my job, so I started checking out other places to work. At one of my new company interviews, I bumped into Amy, someone that I used to date ages ago. We were together for a good 3 years, but then we split because I wanted to study more and she wanted to settle down. I met my wife about a year after I broke up with Amy, but Amy and I remained friends, often with extra benefits. I was upfront with my wife about it all, and she told me early on that she didn't like me hanging out with Amy. I really loved my wife and was super serious about us, so it was a total no-brainer for me to stop seeing Amy. Amy was a bit puzzled, but she understood why I did it. We haven't talked since. Since then, my wife and I have been married for a good 11 years now, and we've got this adorable little kid. During the job interviews, Amy was one of the staff interviewing me, and we had a nice chat about work stuff. The very next week, that company offered me a job. I'd be working as middle management, and Amy would be reporting directly to me. I already told the hiring person about my history with Amy, and they didn't seem bothered at all. I've got 2 more job offers on the table, and I've been haggling with all 3 companies. The first company, the one where Amy works, is willing to pay me a whole 80Ks more than the others. But my wife reminded me that I promised her ages ago that I wouldn't keep in touch with Amy, and now she's asking me to take the offer from the company, offering the second highest pay. She's saying it'll be super awkward for me to manage Amy, especially since we're in the same field and there's no way to shuffle her off to another manager. My wife's really stuck on this, not because she's insecure, but because I made a promise. She's saying it's totally up to me, but she's not feeling great about me being Amy's boss and working closely with her. I get where she's coming from, especially since I'd have to travel with my team, which includes Amy, to some place off-site for a few days every month. I get why it's making my wife anxious. Personally, I'm leaning towards taking the job at the first company because the pay's better, and the experience there would be super valuable for me. But would it be wrong of me to choose that one? It'd give my family a lot of financial stability and boost my career. I don't want to give that up because of Amy, but I also want my wife to feel comfortable and not worry all the time about the situation I'll be in. Update 1. So we sat down and talked about it a bunch on Friday night since our kid was off having fun at my sister-in-law's place. I know my wife might be feeling uneasy about me hanging around with Amy, especially since we had a thing after we broke up. I brought it up with her and said she could be straight with me because I wouldn't make a decision without her being totally okay with it. My wife admitted she's a bit insecure about Amy compared to my other exes. She said it's because our breakup wasn't clean, and I still had feelings for Amy when I met her. Just to give you an idea, when I met my wife through some friends, I was still hooking up with Amy for a few months. But I ended things for good with Amy before I asked my wife out on our first date. My wife knew about my struggles getting over Amy before that, and only agreed to go out with me after I told her I was cutting ties with Amy for good. I chatted with my wife about whether she thinks I'll be less loyal if I'm around Amy. My wife and kid meant everything to me, and I promised her that there's no way I'd ever do anything to risk that. I told her I'd keep things strictly professional, just like I always have with my team, and Amy would be no exception. But if I miss out on this job because of Amy, I'd always feel like my wife doesn't fully trust me, no matter what I do. My wife said she trusts me completely and doesn't want me to feel like I'm doing anything wrong. She doesn't want some what-if scenarios to affect my career decisions and is okay with me taking the offer. She asked me to set up some rules about Amy, like no talking outside of work, only professional talk, and always keeping her in the loop about Amy. Amy messaged me on Saturday about how nice it was to see me during the interview. I told my wife right away, and I replied to Amy on LinkedIn, like my wife suggested. I'll make sure we only talk there. I had until Monday to decide on the offer. Yesterday, when I got to work, I was going to call Amy's company during lunch. But my boss called me to a meeting room for something urgent. My current company knew I was thinking about other offers, and they matched the one from Amy's company. While they weren't able to match what Amy's company offers, they did promise to promote me when a director spot opens up. I was thrilled and called my wife. She was over the moon, and naturally, I decided to stick with my current job. I'm really happy overall. I got a big pay bump at my current place, and I know my wife isn't worried about me and Amy. It feels great knowing we're all on the same page and that my career is on track.